Good evening, Internet. Come on, YouTube. You can do it. I believe in you. There we go. So let's put that down there. Oh, and Discord might want to know that we're streaming. Okay. Now we've done the social media blitz. I haven't made the stuff yet, so that's where part next is. All right, make a copy. We rename it 97. Today is the 18th. All right, close that, close that, close that. Yeah. Okay. We go over to Dropbox. We get today's plots. Omega plots. Wait a sec. Oh, I know what we're missing. Shit. We are missing this one for 45 days. Source that. A lot. They are going for a lot more than they should, and it's pissing me off. There's Plex, and there's the other Plex. Is that the other Plex? Is the date right? Oh yeah, that's right. Fuck me. Zoomed in Plex is not on here. Oh yeah, because I had to do the hack on it, right? Boop. Those supplies, man, are so short. Alright, we are skipping that. And is net trade still broken? Oh my god, net trade is so fucking broken. I fixed the... Shouldn't the query be fixed? Isn't it pulling in the new data? Ugh, fuck me. Broken. You think that after all of these years of doing this show, that I'd be good at it by now. But instead, I just have bugs. So many bugs. Because the Plex split really broke my shit. But that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're fine. I wouldn't be so annoyed if I weren't just completely against the wall with so many other things. Like, I have been double time at work trying to not just get done what I need to get done, which is heavy, but like doing just a lot of mentor work is what it feels like. And it's weird. It's weird being a mentor to people who are, by title and experience, your seniors, and not by an insignificant margin. It just becomes exhausting. It's an uphill battle, and I mean, I love the guys I work with. They're very smart. They're very good dudes. It's just, oh my god, it's so exhausting to have to fight about frickin' everything, and it's draining, and it's busy, and I'm trying to get this finished up. I'm trying to get started on the next big project here for Prosper, trying to get the Mongo database transition going. I picked up a great book. Maybe I have it handy. The camera will reverse it though. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of running. And it's just been hard to keep up with life. Life comes at you fast. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there completely understand. I know it's final season for everybody, so I am sharing your misery. But I mean, the good news is at least progress is getting made. Things are going forward. I have a lot of interest. So the thing that's been great has been we've been getting a lot of interest for what I expect to be our next show. Since it won't be strictly Eve, I've been kind of worried, right? Like, a lot of you guys, I completely understand if all you want to do is make space money, because, you know, that's what I promised to help you do, is understand space money. But, like, I would really like to give back to the community at large when it comes to the dev fleet stuff, because I think, especially after the work I've been doing at my real job, basically having to become guru might be the right word for becoming sort of more of a spiritual leader than anything, and really getting down into the dirt with software design. I think that I finally have enough stuff under my belt that I'm not completely wasting your guys' time. Like, I feel less like it's the blind leading the blind, I guess would be the most appropriate analogy. So the problem with that is that I've tried to write scripts and get sort of a leg going under that, get some legs under that. And I'm having a hard time finding my voice on it, which I know sounds pretentious as fuck, but like, if I'm going to broadcast, and if you guys are going to tune in, and if I'm going to get the sort of broad base, casual, semi-casual coder base I'm looking to go get, well, I gotta find the right spot for that. I gotta find the right cadence. I gotta make content at a appropriate level and and style in clip. And the problem isn't so much writing it, it's more a problem of volume rather than quality, I guess would be the real gist of it. So that's where we are on that. BNIs, Max are down, Jylas are going down, Ishtars are going up, but I don't think we're going to put any of those in the list. Okay, last set. Source here. It's today, forced, Moongoo. Let's take a look at Moongoo. Not a lot to say in Moongoo. Let's look at our flags. That one's interesting. I guess we should put the Tengu in the list. Actually, let's go. I want to talk about more than just the Tengu. I want to talk about that. T3. Where's my T3? Where are my T3s at? Okay. Good. Anything. Sin from last week. Let's put that in the list. Ah. Did the stream stop? I don't know if the stream stopped. Are we streaming? That looks like we're up. Frame rate is garbage. Why is the frame rate garbage? Okay. Okay. Come on. Okay, we're back. Ha! We're back. Come on. There we go. Okay, so yeah, pro tip, don't put sleep and escape next to each other. Rip me. Professional. Forgot what I was talking about. Was about to talk about the sin. I don't think we're going to end up talking about that now because I got interrupted by myself because I'm bad at this. Let's see. Where are we? What are we doing? What are we talking about? I can't believe that completely destroyed my train of thought. Tucker large cap battery. All right. Let's finish the clicks. Oh, T3 cruisers are all down. Sorry. We are going to talk about T3 cruisers, so don't you worry about that. Hook bills. Those are interesting. Let's talk about hook bills. Do we care about these? I don't think we care about these. No. 100 a day? I don't think we care. Yep, nope, nothing interesting about Plex. Nothing to tune in for this week. Not having me eat a double helping of crow because I can't seem to predict bullshit on this stupid show. I'm so embarrassed that watching things go the way they've been going. Really? And injectors aren't really rising? Oh, that makes me sad that graph is broken. That would have been a good graph this week. The price should be in Eve Central. We're pulling from Eve Central now on the show, so the new Plex price is being reported by Eve Central and Fuzzwork, because Fuzzwork uses a full ESI stack. You're wrong. I know it's not on the front page. You got to go to you got to do the new search. It's not my fault that they can't update their stuff. Fuck, where is it? That button. Where the hell is my split data? Really? What a pain in my ass. Split info. There we go. 44.99.2. I mean, I am half right if I get to be a smart ass about that. Oops, that goes there. That goes there. That we would be able to climb farther faster now that the prices are lower, even if the final product price doesn't change, right? Like the root of Plex hasn't changed at all. But the supply chain is just so thin right now is really what's killing me. After all the orders got canceled, they just didn't come back like they were supposed to. And it means that we're in a regime where we're basically dividing by zero which means we go into runaway. I mean, what I want to buy is a fucking rat nerf, to be completely honest. Is that nullsec ratting needs like 40% kick in the fucking teeth. So, oh. Because, I mean, go look at the April Mer, and we're printing off 2 trillion a day in rat bounties, and that is like 85% of the cash flow in Eve. And I mean, I'm more than happy to trade more Rourke efficiency if we can nerf the income stream, because right now we are in unstable territory, and I really don't love getting on the nerf null bandwagon, because, well, it's a useless endeavor, because we have the Council of Null Management, and I'm not going to go on the forums, and frankly, every other asshole who says what I say then backs it up with their asinine make the game better for me and screw everybody else features and ideas discussions. So I'd rather not get lumped in with those wackos. But and I mean, so I hate using the word inflation in Eve, because CPI, the CPI of living in Eve, if you think about anything other than Plex, stays extremely level. That the CPI for what does it cost to be a miner, to be an F1 fleet, to be a small gang PvPer, to do any profession, has stayed relatively stable, extraordinarily stable over the last years. And so talking about inflation like that isn't really useful. But on the other hand, we do have a cash flow problem where that cash is getting printed and it's going to go push into Plex. And that sponge only has so much elasticity in it. And it's going to hurt. It's going to start making things cattywampus, if I may use such a shitty term. I'm tired, guys. It's been one hell of a week. And yeah, it's not good. I'm not happy about it. And I'm extremely worried that unless we see a proposal for a change in June, by the end of June, we won't see one until the end of September, to be completely honest, because like let's think about the Eve development cycle, and let's talk about Europeans. CCP is essentially useless. Most of Europe is out on holiday throughout August, right? CCP might as well be a skeleton crew between mid-July through mid-August, through the end of August. And that's fine, go on holiday. You guys deserve it. I'm not gonna fault them for it. But like, let's talk about development cycles. Like, we have one more sprint between here and vacation time, and no even murmurs from CCP that ratting will be touched. And I don't expect, there's no way the CSM is going to bring it up, because, well, who on the CSM is going to? The only person who can is Steve, and Steve, this isn't his wheelhouse. Aerith Could, he won't, because he knows exactly how much money he's getting paid, and he's not going to mess with a good thing. And, like, so we're stuck that if we don't see an answer in the next 4 weeks, where a significant nerf, like, all we have left in time for is a significant direct nerf that says, guess what? Sanctums are paying 20% less, deal with it. Mic drop, we're going on vacation. And, like, that's a really bitter pill to swallow, right? Like, that is not a good PR move. The community team's going to have to fucking deal with it while the econ guys are like, no, trust me, we have to do this. It's important. And, like, I don't expect Falcon to really be able to communicate to everybody, like, it's for your own good. I'm sorry that it hurts. Like, but it's important. Like, that's not, he's not an econ guy. Like, and I'm not, again, not faulting him. I don't expect him to be an econ guy. Like, whatever. But shit, like, we're in emergency panic mode from the economic numbers side, and it really, really has me worried. Like, I don't know. And then I'm going to end the show in just 4 more weeks, and no one else is going to be able to be on top of this the way I am, and it makes me sad, and everything's going to break, and it's all going to be my fault. So, with that, let's go through the FAQ and get the show started. All right, so anybody who is tuning into the show, welcome to the show. This is your first time. We are streaming both live on YouTube and Twitch. If you want to catch up, if you want to watch us in glorious 1080p, go check out YouTube. Do subscribe to us on, all you got to remember is Eve Prosper. That will get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. Yes, we are retiring. Episode 100 will be our last episode. I believe that is in mid-June. We are not looking to skip any more weeks, though we might take Memorial Day off here in the States. So, what does this mean to you guys? One, thank you for everybody who tunes in. The audience we've had so far is absolutely the reason we've got this far. And two, we're going to go and refactor the stuff that makes Prosper, to try to make a bigger show out of it. Focusing purely on Eve. I love you guys. This niche of a niche has been very good to me. But we have basically reached maximum penetration for who we can broadcast to. And I'd like to get to a point where we can start talking about the software design that makes Prosper work, so we can be sort of a middle ground. Like, the place I'd like to be able to be doing content in is the space between when you finish your CS 101 sort of work, you get done with your Treehouse or what are the other services? Codecademy, those kind of things. And you get out, and maybe you've done one app, or you work in a field and you still kind of feel like you're not that great. Like you're sort of just failing and playing the words. Jesus. Imposter syndrome. You feel like you got the imposter syndrome thing? Like, that's the spot I want to land in, where I say, okay, look, we're going to go through each of these topics week after week, and we're going to say, this is why you use these tools, and this is how you'd build a whatever, and here are some best practices, and maybe do a book club, and work on bringing data science to a really general audience. And whether that's real life market stuff, I'm not quite sure yet. There's some liability problems for doing that. But like, to be able to not really focus so much on tutorial content, but focus on sort of the, oh, I didn't know about blank kind of content. So that's where I'd like to go move the show. If that interests you, do get subscribed, do stay subscribed, do join our Discord. Right. So again, first time on the show, let me give you a quick rundown. We're going to we run the show basically straight through. Runs about 45 minutes. I don't answer questions during the show, but feel free to chat in the chat. I do look at the chat. We will answer questions at the end of the show. There is a Q&A for you guys at the end of the show. So if you guys get questions in there and I don't get to them during the show, we can talk about them and you guys can get your stuff answered. 2, we make all of the graphs in-house. We have all of the code open source. Link should be down in the doobly-doo below. And I do say you can run it anywhere, but it's not super well designed, so it's hard to run anywhere. We're working on fixing that. So again, if the code stuff interests you, you should check out the Discord. I do Plex bounties for code topics. Let's see. Yeah, and then graphs are all made with R. It's the same tools that CCP Quant uses to make his sexy graphs. And we're a Python house, Python 3 forever. I guess that is most of the rundown. So, and then last bit is, again, I am space retiring in just a few more weeks. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in here to the bitter end. Yeah, I really do greatly appreciate it. So, with that, let's press some buttons. Let's get this show running. Let's make the thing happen. Good evening and welcome to Eve Prosper, your source for all of the market news every week. I'm your host, Lockefox, and let's get right into it. Let's get right started right away. Let me see how many times I can use right in a sentence and screw up my editor, Christopher Mellon. So let's go ahead and get this show rolling. First, let's talk quick show news. Thank you, everyone who is tuning in live right now. We are streaming simultaneously to Twitch and YouTube at 0300 on Friday nights every week. You can catch the show live. If you want to follow us and you can't catch us live, that's fine. Just remember, it's Eve Prosper everywhere. That'll get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. If you want to support the show, sorry, let me make sure I can do this correctly. Right. If you want to support the show, do check out our Patreon at patreon.com/EveProsper. Every dollar that goes in there is a dollar that will help keep our servers running into perpetuity. So, So I know that, again, the show is ending in June. We will be closing the Prosper Patreon at the end of June. Any dollars that are in that jar go towards keeping the servers running, and I deeply, deeply appreciate all of the contributions there. So if you want to support us, if you want to buy us a beer, this is your best chance to do so. What did I just say? We are retiring. So if this is your first time tuning in, I have some terrible news. Episode 100 will be our last one. We are looking to relaunch. I would like to relaunch content in a slightly different vein, less Eve, more data science. So if you want to follow along, you should check out our Discord down in the doobly-doo. Looking to launch some new content and sort of bring the same sort of down-to-earth, let's go through the numbers kind of analysis to more real-world topics is the hope we can get to. If you're sad that you're losing a Eve institution, if I may be so bold, don't you fret. There are plenty of market podcasts to check out, such as Christopher Mellon, our editor, who runs Minor Metrics on a daily cadence, and I don't know how he does it. And Rodin over at Eve NT TV is on every Tuesday night at 0100, I believe. And don't forget that, of course, the original, DeLone Wolf at Eve Talk is on every Saturday, but I don't know what time. So, just because I have left doesn't mean that I know there will be a hole in your hearts, but there doesn't need to be a hole in your wallets. The code will continue to be open source, so you can continue to run our stuff. I'm working on getting our stuff up to a higher standard. And if that interests you, if you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to earn a Plex bounty, do join our Discord and we can talk shop. With that, let's go ahead and move on to the show. Let's go make the show happen. All right, let's start where we always do, with Plex, and where I have to eat the biggest serving of crow that the price of Plex did exactly the opposite of what I said it would do. Instead of going down 15%, it has gone up 15%. What the literal crap is going on? My inbox has been exploding with people asking me, Locke, what's going on? You said... Senpai, what happened? And, well, just like with injectors, I fucked up, guys. I fucked up. So, how did I fuck up? Let's go through the numbers real quick, and we'll discuss how and why I fucked up. So, the price of Plex right now, the mini Plex is at 2.8 million, on pace to hit 3.0. We're in a regime that I just can't predict. With the trends being this hot, we're basically off in no man's land. So it could keep going up. It could crash ridiculously. Like, this is off the map, there be dragons here kind of stuff. So I really can't give you a good forecast today. And that's not just me dodging a bullet. Like, every technical indicator is completely broken right now. And if we zoom out to a year's worth of data, you can really see why that we don't see positive slopes like this. We don't see RSIs like this very often. We saw a similar one back in the middle of March, but this is hot, this is fast. It is really hard to predict. It's really hard to work with. It's interesting to say that it's interesting to see that the volumes seem to be slightly down since the split. Even though, thank you again, CCP Quant, for backfilling the data. It is a huge help in a lot of my tools. That we are down some 15-ish%, somewhere between 8 and 15%. And but the prices keep climbing. And if we zoom in, you can really see what I mean, how I got this wrong. So what happened? I was expecting that we would see a lot more volume hit the market, right? Like, that was my hope, is that between relisted orders from during the split, so all of these orders that were open, I expected to continue. And then number two, I expected kind of a birthday money effect where 50% of the people who got Plex windfalls from Aurum were just going to go spend it. We're just going to go burn it, get that shiny ship, or pay for a month of Plex. Either way, Plex my account for a month, like, get the free money sort of thing going on. And this would increase supply, decrease demand, lower prices. Instead, what we saw is that the order depth really collapsed. Like, that's what's really going on here, is that we've lost 300 units out of the market that never came back, and we're running extremely thin. And as we get down in these low volumes, you get into a spot where you're kind of trying to divide by zero. And that's when things get extremely unstable. That's when prices go up, 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 up. Is because as we get to extremely short supplies, like the sky is the limit then, right? Like you're going to end up buying from ridiculous buy orders or buying from ridiculous sell orders, and you're going to end up with a spike in prices because there is literally nothing on the market, and you've basically divided, like I said, you divide it by zero, you get an infinitely high number kind of thing going on. I'm hoping that our supply chain grows a little bit. There's some other factors in here that are really screwing things up. One, the faucet rate coming out of rats is absolutely unacceptable right now. We're talking about north of 2 trillion ISK a day printed from rats, and the bulk of that is coming from places like Delve. These fountains are too generous. They're going to a select few number of pilots, and the only thing that can absorb that ISK shock is Plex. So if we are expecting to see excess ISK in the system, that excess ISK is going to flow into Plex, and Plex is going to bloat. My worry is that we get to 3 million ISK Plex, for instance. We get to 3.5 million ISK Plex, and I wonder if something is going to give, and it's unhealthy because what ends up happening is that, not to be a socialist kind of libtard, you end up with a small pool of people who actually have cash to go do whatever the Plex price is set at, right? Like they get to drive it, just like when we saw incursion runners setting the Plex price a couple years back, just like when we saw wormholers setting the Plex price last year even. Now we're seeing nullsec ratters set the price of Plex. And it means that people are going to rush into gold rushes. They're going to print a bunch of money, and then they're not going to do anything with it. And that's the part that really kills me, is that as we get to, and I said this in last week's After Hours, I was talking about if let's say we got to 2 billion a month Plex, right? Like 500 Plex costs you 2 billion. Well, I mean, turn that around, and that means that your Dreadnought costs like $8, right? $8 American. And I mean, that's like 2 Starbuckses, right? Like if you go into your fun budget, if you're going to go to the bar this weekend and you're going to spend $45-50, and let's say you skipped a couple of beers, you could buy a couple of caps. Well, I mean, if it's fun money, well then why would I just station spin those caps? Why don't I go whelp them? Why don't I get me and a couple of buds to go, buy a Plex, go cash it out, go buy the crap, and then go do a whelp fleet of really shiny shit? Like, I would hope that can happen, but yeah. And it's unhealthy. I'm not happy about it. And we're going to be running out of time to fix it is the really hard part of this, is that if you talk about development cycle at CCP, we only have maybe 4 or 6 weeks left in the current sprint to be putting anything out before vacation time. And then we should expect no new features until September. And that makes things really hard. It makes it really difficult to go and fix it. It leaves you with someone like Recurve coming to the planners and saying, "Look, we got to do something big. We got to cut this off at the legs." And the bigger the change, the harder it is to figure out the knock-on effects. The sort of change that's left in the chamber to throw out are the kinds of ones that will just throw up thread knots about it. And I don't expect anyone outside the economic team to really be able to sell it well, and I don't expect the CSM to request it either. So we're kind of in a spot of like whoever has to say it ends up being the pariah. And though they might, fix everything, they're gonna make everyone upset in the meantime, and they're gonna get burned by it. So why get burned? Like why burn all that political capital? So I'm worried. I'm particularly worried. And yeah. So let's keep on moving. Let's talk about skill injectors. Skill injectors. I unfortunately my graph for fixing things my graph for checking out the build price of injectors is broken at the moment. Working on fixing it. I'll try and have it fixed for next week. I've just been behind. But what we see is that injectors continue to rise, and this is actually more on the backs of extractors rising, because extractors are going to follow the price of Plex. As the extractors rise, they're going to eat into the zombie margin, and this is a reaction to my margin is shrinking, my price better rise. And unfortunately, if my napkin math is correct, the zombie margin is actually getting pretty crummy. But again, I can't visualize it right here because, again, my graph is broken. I haven't had a chance to fix it. So skill injectors keep rising. They should. I would expect them to rise a little bit higher than they are now. I kind of have a target of 750 million for how hot Plex is right this second. But I can't back that up yet. So tune in next time for when I have my shit in order. Next, market indexes. Remember those bugs I talked about? They're really screwing my shit up. So again, this is one I have to fix. I'm sorry about that. We're just not going to have any view into the RMT side of the house. So that's my bad. I don't know why skill trading is broken too, but the general trend I'm seeing outside of the RMT markets is a lowering. So we're seeing a reduction in general market. We were seeing a resurgence in mining, but that's turning around. And the total ship displacement is continuing to fall. And if we look at kills, we can see why that ship number is going down. Nobody's fighting each other. Again, this rant that I've gone on for 2 or 3 weeks now about how we're going to have an enemy war and not actually fight anybody, that's still what's going on here. We see a big reduction in value destroyed this week, dipping under the trillion ISK mark, with words, I can do this. With the rise in ratting incomes and the fall in PvP activity, these are both bad signs together because we're talking about more cash going into the system and less activity coming out for that work. And it puts money in coffers, it just ends up stacking to the ceilings, and it doesn't do any work. And if money isn't doing work, we don't really have an economy to talk about here on the show, right? Like, if ISK velocities get below, a 0.06 mark, a 0.6 mark, like, there is just not enough heat in the market to really need the analysis I do here week after week. Things will stay relatively stable. No volatility, no reporting, right? And this slump in destruction, though I wonder if part of that is my Plex reporting being bad. Might be. This slump here is really bad news and just does not make me very happy. So, don't know what to say about it. Don't know why nobody is fighting. I know that it's finals time, so that might be why we're seeing a drop in activity. We saw a similar one if we zoom all the way back to last year. We were coming off the end of World War B. But we have been staying relatively stable. I kind of expected things not to get this quiet. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Moving on to minerals. Titanium staying steady. Like I said, you don't really need me around if the prices don't change week over week. Prices are staying at 4.5 million. Volumes are staying relatively steady in the 13.8 million units. Supply chains are staying steady at 40 billion units. So there's a little bit of volatility here. I know that we're so zoomed in. This looks really bad, but like we're bouncing from 425 to 475. That's really not. It's not really a lot of movement. I guess you could get 10% if you really got from top to bottom. But like this is a hard regime to really be making any money in. Supplies are staying steady. I expect supplies to roll off a little bit, which might get us to the 5.0 mark. If you are a particular speculator, getting a 4.3, 4.4 kind of buy price to sell at 5.0 might be okay. But you're really playing with fire with your fees schedule right there. So I don't know if there's enough room to actually make a profit, and you might just miss out right after Memorial Day. Like that's kind of the selling spot I'm targeting here. But this is basically all gut tuning. So I don't feel really great about this prediction. Next, pyrite was way down, but has turned around. We were at 5.4 last week, and we're up at 5.5. Again, supplies are rolling off slightly. Same story as Trit, just I don't expect it to go as high. Hitting 5.75 would be kind of expected, but again, like the buy floor here tells me that we might just stay around 5.5. And maybe hit 5.6, 5.65 kind of space. So, yeah. Next, Mexilon. This one has been our darling in the past, but since the war that never came, we didn't get to see the pop we were really hoping for here in May. So again, sorry to anybody who's using our profit endpoint, but that's what you get for using robots. If we zoom on in, again, supplies are pretty hot, reasonably hot, and production is down, destruction is down. There's no reason to get constrained. Now, to be buying at sub 70 prices is not a bad bet in my book. I would not mind having some sub 70 Mexilon in my portfolio if I were a stockpiler. It's the party might already be over though. So, I mean, put some buy orders out there at 69, 70, 70.5, and try to see if you can catch some of this, this weekend warrior work. But I wouldn't be wanting to hold a lot of Mexilon, because I think it's going to get worse over the summer before it gets better. And there's only so far it can climb. So it's kind of like you're buying today to sell midsummer, hoping that a sub 70 price gets you a 75, 78 sell order in the short term. You're buying sub 70 to hold longer. That one I have that's a little harder pill to swallow, because we could go down to 65 again and not see the spike back up until Eve Vegas, ahead of really announcing the moon changes in technical detail. Like that's kind of where I expect the long bet to pay off. And I don't know if 70 is a good enough price to be buying in for that. 65 probably, but not 70. I have a hard time eating that one. Next, Isogen. Like I've said before, and I had beers with one of my fans this last weekend, and he was mentioning that I say this every week. Isogen, who I shit on every week, and I will continue to shit on every week, was way down last week. And I did say that if you were a technical analysis guy, I think this was a decent chance to buy in. Did I say that? I hope I said that, because I'd feel super brilliant if I said that. I should really write this stuff down so I can keep myself keep myself honest week to week. This 48 buy price did look pretty good. I think that's over for the moment. Supplies are getting hot though, so we could see some more drops over the weekend. But again, I don't like speculating in Isogen. You can probably do it because I talk about it, and I talk about it so disparagingly that you're the one betting against me, and if you make any money, then it's on your own, and you feel like a genius, smarter than I am. But I just can't tell the general public to invest in this because I just have no faith in it, unfortunately. Noxium was up at 400, and I really expected it to stay at 400, but we saw a big sell-off bringing us back down to 360. And though there was that big sell-off, we aren't really that thin in material, so we're back at 400 in the buys and sells, and that's just not really reflected. Oh, it is reflected here in the whisker, so somebody reset the price back to 400 essentially. That would have been a really great pattern to catch on, but it happened, like I said, after the show. So sorry, I wish I had said something. This one would require more activity. You guys should go watch the Minor Metrics show from Christopher Mellon because someone like him could catch it. Supply staying steady. A 400 price, I think, is completely fair for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Zydrine staying steady just above 1K. Not a lot to say on the volume side. Again, supply lines are straight and level. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. There's a little bit of disparity in the buys, maybe signaling low demand at the moment, which could bring us back down to 1K, but I don't expect a lot of volatility. And if mining picks up, I expect this to drop right under 1K, and I don't really expect it to come back until we get into a more... until we start seeing more destruction to actually chew through some of this stuff. Megasite was big news last week, took a nosedive after a big sell-off just ahead of the Plex split, but it's steady again at 1200. And again, we can see what was going on there. Big sell spike as people were just selling straight into buy orders, and the buy order pressure collapsed. But we're back to 1200. Not a lot to say here. Prices are steady. Volumes are a little bit thin, so maybe we'll get to 1.3K, but I wouldn't bet on it. I think that we're in a spot that we'll be back at 100 million units pretty quick and be back down in the 1200 regime for a while. Next, Morphite is way down, and again, down at 9,000 this week with hefty supply. This is my long bet for moon mining. If you want to seem like a super genius, I would not put a ton of money in this. I'd put a little bit over the rest of the summer, bit by bit. Buying in buy orders sub 9K is definitely not bad, especially since I expect doubled prices, but you're going to be holding it for a while, and you could be stuck with a stockpile after you've built it of like like on the one hand, either you're going to be a super genius, you're going to double your money, and you're going to feel amazing, and you're going to be like, "Thank you, Lockefox, for telling me to do this." On the other hand, this could be Beanie Babies, and I could be telling you to squirrel away your cash into your retirement nest egg of Beanie Babies, and then you go to sell it off, and it's worth less than you bought in for, and then you go, "Lock, you completely screwed me." So this is why I'm taking a cautious approach, and I'd be slowly adding, taking 1% of my profits and maybe putting those into Morphite. Try to grow a couple billion-isk over like 3 months worth of the stuff rather than any one big buy. So that's my bad advice here. Next, moving on to fuel. We were seeing nitrogen isotopes crashing last week and oxygen isotopes staying steady. We've seen the price reverse on nitrogen isotopes, getting above 800 again. I still find it weird that we are so low on helium and hydrogen. I think this is another good place to put long bets ahead of moon mining. But again, moon mining you shouldn't expect it until November. So do your stockpiling accordingly. An 800 price is my target here, so I wouldn't put so many eggs in the basket. But like, this is a better bet than my Morphite bet. Next, looking at fuel blocks again. The margins have been very healthy, especially in the hydrogen and helium blocks. The prices on nitrogen and oxygen continue to be strong, so not a whole lot to say here. I'm glad to see, again, I did rail a couple months ago that, like, why would you produce for negative margin here? And things have become a lot more stable. So glad to see that. Also, if we go look at the subcomponents, like your PI parts, those have been falling in price. So this margin is getting better every week. I still don't think it's a great place for new industrialists, but if you are running a heavier industry thing and you can get the isotopes cheap, like, you're sitting pretty, you're working easy. This is definitely not as bad as it has been. Strontium, our indicator for Savoir, staying steady, not a lot of buy-in going on. Again, anime war is bullshit, so sorry about that, guys. Heavy water is our indicator for heavy mining and some PvP activity. We see a drop-off in supplies and a raising in prices, which might mean that more Rorks have come online. This is a little bit squishier a metric, so I'm not really sure what's driving this. But yeah. Next, moving on to Outliers, start where we do every week, talking about advanced materials. We continue to see the spike in... Is that value right? Yeah, that value's right. Okay. We continue to see the spike in the middle. Nanotransistors are on a tear, and so are the parts that make up nanotransistors. We see fulleride staying steady. The stuff at the top is staying relatively steady. Looks like it might be in for a fall. I'd be watching ferrogel. I'd be watching fermionic condensates. But, and fullerides are staying, could go either way at this point. Metamaterials were hot last week, but look like they're cooling off this week. So not a whole lot to say on the moon side of the equation. PI4 staying steady, not a lot to report here. Prices are staying high. I don't know why the scales are fucked up. There should be big, the scales shouldn't be like this. Whatever. They're trending slightly downwards. I expect that the price of PI is going to continue to slump over the summer. It's going to be another one of those low and slow things, and as soon as we get tangible details on the mining platforms, I expect them to correct. So I'd be watching to buy these at the end of the summer, to be honest, something in a September, maybe end of August kind of thing. Yeah, it's... I think that it's a loser in the short term and the medium term, but could come back in the long term, essentially. Next, big news in the T3 cruiser markets is that Proteus and Tengus are way down. Supplies have been stacking up lately, and prices are falling because of it. It sure seems like a lot of the wormhole guys are overproducing at the moment and have been trying to hold back material, but like, you can only really cartel that stuff for so long until people start leaking, and I think that we're going to see prices fall in the short term, and it's hard to talk about these being at 100 million for T3s, but the price of the bill of materials is the bill of materials, so not a lot to say here. Hold on one second. I need to press the button. Okay, sorry. I thought that work chat was going to pop in. Next, talking about Caldari Navy hook bills now are on a tear. We're seeing supplies get a little bit choked and prices flying high. So if you got some of that Caldari loyalty points, now might be a decent chance to cash out. I know that the ships don't tend to be the best place to land your loyalty points, but they're easy and they sell fast. So if you need some quick cash, this is not a bad way to get it. On the other side of the coin, Stabber Fleet issues were hot last week, and a big sell-off here is dumping the price. It'd be a decent chance to be watching for a buy-in opportunity this weekend at about a 40 million mark. I don't know if you're going to make a ton of money in the short term, but it's a good chance to jump on the faction warfare wave, because these things tend to come in waves where it dips really low, and then everybody sits on their hands, and then it starts to climb, and you can go sell off in the climb, and then everybody comes in dog piles and it crashes again. Like that's the way to play a lot of the faction warfare markets. Next, an interesting one this week, moon harvesting arrays. Though supply and demand is steady, prices are not. They were high last week, and they are in the dumps this week. So interesting piece of news I almost missed last week is that it's going to be impossible to produce new industry arrays for POS. You just can't build them anymore. The blueprints won't work. And or the places you can produce them will basically tell you no. Actually, no. The blueprints require a unit of themselves to build or something. Like it's an impossible build. And the good news is that the Thucker array, one of my favorite little modules, though it has been retired, a rig has been replaced in its place so that low-sec manufacturers get a boost, and it's a not insignificant one. So glad to see that back. I'd like to go look at the supply chain, but I just haven't had a chance to look at it because that new Thucker rig is extremely interesting to me just from an academic point of view. Next, moving on to a prediction review, we talk about stuff I talked about last week to see if I know what I'm talking about, and if it's about Plex, I don't know what I'm talking about. Zing me. Last week we talked about Black Ops ships being extremely hot, and now we see the Sin this week has gone down to the dumps, and then there was a big sell-off. Somebody made a mistake, fat-fingered a low order, and looks like prices are low. Again, this is a pattern I've talked about in the past where a heavy Tech 2 ship, something like Marauders and Hictors and Black Ops, the prices stay steady for a while, and then they climb up because somebody did a big buy or just supplies are getting thin. Prices get high, a whole bunch of manufacturers pile on, the prices crash, and they stay crashed for a while, and everybody's trying to wash their hands out of a bad bet. So this is a great opportunity for speculators to buy a couple of these, hold on to them, and get out when the prices go up. It's a real pain for producers to be trying to produce these things because it's really easy to overproduce. You get the dollar signs in your eyes and you crash the market because it doesn't take much, seeing as only like 10 of them sell a day. If I build them and you build them and another guy builds them, well, we're likely to bring 30 of them to the market, and it's going to take, and there's already 30 units out there. Like, it's going to take a while for us all to get paid. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about the violence report and how disappointed I am that you guys aren't killing each other. Not a lot to say on the ship market. Values are staying about where we expect them. The mix is the same mix we've seen every week, though no Thanatos this week, so that's kind of interesting. Oh, and Rourke's continuing to make up a decent chunk of the value destroyed, just not the number destroyed. So glad to see that. I'm wondering when the drones will start showing up, but again, I might have a bug in my system that doesn't let them show up. Next, Popular Systems. EHA was a big activity center this week, and I completely missed why. So again, bad on me. I should have looked that up. GE Tech 8 and is continuing to bring up the back of our nullsec group, and Nedamalia, Jita, and Tama are our sort of baseline. There's always activity in Nedamalia and Tama. And then regions, we see a lot going on in Black Rise as far as count. We're seeing a lot of destruction going on in Providence according to value. Otherwise, values are staying relatively steady. Not a lot of big whelps this week, except whatever happened in Providence, which isn't EHA. That might be GTech E. I don't know what that could have been. Huh. Anyway, so not a lot going on here. And still disappointing PvP numbers all around. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the show here. I have been your host, Lockefox. This has been the Eve Prosper Show. If you want to tune in live, you still can do so on Friday nights at 0300 on Twitch and YouTube. We're live. For all of our American guys, that's Thursday night U.S. time. Words. I can do this. Do get subscribed. I do like seeing numbers going up and to the right. All you got to remember is Eve Prosper. That'll get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. And if you want to support us directly, the very best way to do so is through our Patreon at patreon.com/EveProsper. All the money going in there right now is going towards keeping the servers up and running for as long as possible so that we can continue to provide things like the Prosper, the Profit bot, and all of those great endpoints. And if you've been waiting for a chance to buy me a beer, this is an excellent chance to throw a couple bucks in the jar. If you can't support us directly, completely understand. I know it, again, is finals week. So please keep the beer for yourself if you're doing finals. Do get subscribed. Do check out our other friends in the market podcast realm, though, as well. So Christopher Mellon at Minor Metrics, Rodin at EVNT TV, and, of course, the one, the only, the original, DeLone Wolf at Eve Talk. Tell all your friends about your favorite market podcast. Get everybody making the greatest spreadsheets, and enjoy the graph porn all around. I will be back next week. We still have a couple of episodes left before this show comes to an end. And don't forget to get joined into our Discord. If you want to talk to me, that's the very best route to get in touch with me. I do love talking to you guys on DM. I do like talking shop about how the tools work. And that is the absolute very best place to get in touch with me. So with that, I've been your host, Lockefox. This has been the Eve Prosper Show. I am signing off. You guys go make a ton of money. And that is a show. Oh my God, I wish I got... I wish I got a cup of coffee before I started doing this. I'm going to fall asleep. It's been a long day. So if you guys are still tuned in, let me get this switched over. This is your time to get questions answered. This is 30 minutes or more of Q&A time. If you guys don't ask questions, I'm just going to rant about Python bullshit. And I enjoy that, but maybe you guys might not. Unsettled on Purpose on YouTube is asking, what was I talking about? The Thucker component assembly rig changing into a rig. I'll have to go hunt down the sources again. I don't know if it's out yet or if it's coming out in the next patch. But they basically announced that Thucker, you'll get a Thucker rig that gives an ME bonus to engineering complexes, and it's low sec only. So that's the deal on those. I'm glad to see that back because I'm a big fan of that particular boost to low sec industry. Let's see. Lyco N64 is asking, do you think the visual price change of Plex players are less likely to complain at high Plex prices? I did say in previous episodes that I expected to see more of a boiled frog, so that we'll get higher and lower prices because it's easier for casuals to participate at a lower price point. It's easier to get like a casual guy with 100 million ISK can play in the Plex market without completely losing his shirt, where he needed a billion ISK a unit to play in that market before. So that should lead to more volatility, and then combine that with the boiled frog factor, where everything that's paid for is using one currency, so more gets bought out to go buy skins and all that other bullshit, and it's less obvious what the price of 30 days of game time is, so it's easier to get to the highest highs from where we are. The contract can be set to 4 weeks now instead of 2. Will this affect the market? So Stefan Turnick is asking if, since contracts can now be 4 weeks instead of 2, will this affect the market? I have a hard time saying yes. I think this is a quality of life improvement, and I'm sure there are places in the fire sale markets and some of the high meta markets where this will cause some problems, but I'm not sure. I don't think it has an effect on the general macro market. Solderball is asking, did I hear about the Plex training bug exploit? I missed that. So I'm going to go read up on that. That slipped under my radar. I don't know how I missed that. Oh, because it was posted today, and I was out having a ditch day with my wife, so I missed this completely. Oh, and it was revealed last week. And Colemate is the guy talking about it. I mean, it's possible. Let's see. I mean, it's a good time to sell Plex if you need the cash, but like, cash is a wealth. Plex is a wealth reserve, and you stockpile it like a savings account, in most cases. So, if there's stuff you wanted to go use it on right now, like absolutely go. This is a great chance to go turn dollars into ISK and ride the top of the market, because even if this exploit is causing the Plex price rise, that damage is going to stay in the system. It's not like they're going to go turn the servers back, 2 weeks 1 week, and replay without the thing. Like the damage has been done and it's just going to stay there. So if you're going to use the ISK, absolutely, but if not, then sit on your reserves is kind of the idea. Echo Versky is asking, does Eve have a new player problem? I'm not close enough to the ground on this one. Seeing as I have not flown in a corporation for almost a year, and I've just not been in a lot of the newbie friendly spaces, I have a hard time talking about it. That the like, I'm worried about some of the economic things and their effects on alphas. High mining productivity in nullsec makes the first thing that most players do makes it pay extremely poorly, and who wants to do their spend a weekend mining as your first thing in Eve, and you go and you count your schmeckles all together, and you're like, shit, man, I've only got, I can barely buy that cruiser I was gonna do. This game is such a fucking grind. And what's a Plex cost? Oh my god, I have to make 2 billion ISK a month to try and get my alpha status for free, my omega status for free? Fuck this. So, it's there are some places that have me worried, and the high ratting rate is another spot that has me worried, because again, it puts ISK in the hands of people who aren't using it, and that's my number one thing I'd like to see more stuff from. So I'm hesitant to call it a problem because I just don't have enough data, and I'm not really the guy to talk about it. So let's see. Jinton put up a video regarding how Sov might be under attack. The stations turn into faction citadels. Any thoughts? I didn't look into it, and I really don't know much about the Sov mechanics to talk like an expert. So I would side with Jinton on that, and hopefully they have a segment in open comms about it for more information. So let's see. It's taken me 3 years, tons of effort to get my ISK hourly rate equal my hourly pay. The Mighty Enigma is saying it's taken me 3 years and a ton of effort to get to my ISK to an hourly rate equal to my hourly pay. God, I'm not there yet. The show takes a step towards it, but yeah. So Zabachi is asking, am I quitting, reducing my time, or just refocusing the show? So to be honest, I've been playing Eve for 12 plus years. And I love the community, I love the stuff, but I just do not have the time and energy to play Eve properly. And this is a personal failing, because Eve, you can't play Eve for less than an hour at a time, and I don't have that kind of time. And if I have that kind of time, I don't want to spend it in Eve because I have a lot of professional work opportunities IRL that I should be focusing that energy into. And I hate to be that guy who's like, it's just a game, guys. Geez, get serious. But like, we're gonna IPO eventually, and like, man, this is a pretty excellent chance to really rocket my career into the stratosphere. So, with that, I do love Eve, and I do really enjoy the fact that the API community is so excellent, and I would like to get a chance to give back. So I do want to change the show to be more IRL focused, so that we can do more programming talk, more design talk, so I can help people who are in similar spaces that I have been into, and see if I can be sort of that bridge between feeling like the man's got you down when it comes to code, and getting to the point where like I am a shiny golden god with a computer. Like there is a route there, and I think there's a real lack of content in that sort of space. So I was hoping to sort of fill that out. And if there's stuff like, if you love the data science side of this show, which that's why we made the show, is that I do love the amateur data science stuff. I want to be able to help you guys say, well, I was watching that Prosper Guys thing, and we were talking about statistical process control. And he keeps talking about how if it's linear or if it's normal, I can predict on it, or I can do all this stuff on it. And then I watched his whatever episode about actually doing Six Sigma, doing Sigma analysis, and I have a problem at work that looks a lot like that. So what if I take his thing and like some R script and change the CSV source to the thing I want to work on and like mess with it, and I've been watching a dozen episodes of this, so I kind of know what I'm doing, and holy shit, I can do this thing. And I go to my boss, and my boss is like, holy fuck, this is amazing. Or you finally do this enough times, you go, well, fuck you, boss, I'm worth twice as much as what you're paying me. Like, that's the sort of thing I want to get to. So it also means that I can use some more of the monetization tools in the arsenal without feeling like a turbo dick doing it. Like, one of the things I'd love to be able to do is time-gated content, right? Like, I'd love to be able to use Patreon and say, look, if you give us $1, you can get the show a week early. And if not, don't worry, it'll be there in a week. And one, that's completely useless for a news show, right? Like, I can't do a news show and expect you guys to wait a week for the content, right? And number two, I can't time gate because it's against the EULA. So, like, I have to make my own content if I want to go do that kind of work. And so, yeah. Hawk Shadow is asking about the Hayes Yoda's lab changes, and I don't know what they are. Again, I've been nose to the grindstone. I have missed most of the Eve stuff this week, so you'll have to be more specific. And if the new content tickles you, do get subscribed to the channel. I'm trying to go. I'm going to probably launch from here. I do want to do over the summer. I want to do more office hours streams so that it can be a little more casual, and I can do the work that needs to get done, and you guys can still get the Eve questions answered that you want to get answered. So that's my sort of trade-off, is that the Prosper show might end, but office hours can continue because those don't take any editorial content to make. Those are just, I'm an early bird and my wife isn't, so I have times most Saturday mornings from like 8 to 10, and I could be here coding. And if you have any interest in Mongo database, you should be subscribed, because we're going to talk about that in the next like 2 or 3 weeks. I've been getting through a book, and I'm really excited to go drop SQL entirely and welcome our new NoSQL overlords. So if you've been like, what the heck is Mongo? What is everybody talking about? We will be talking about. Oh, yeah. So I know that okay, so Hawkshadow and Unsettled on Purpose are talking about the Thucker lab and the Highest Yoda lab. So the Highest Yoda lab is a bit of a weird relic in that its extra bonus isn't that great. It was useful before because it had an extra couple of slots, but then Krios killed slots, so who cares? And then I think that it has a slightly better research modifier. I just don't remember what it is. The Thucker one is actually the more interesting one in my book because it levels the playing field between low-sec and null-sec for capital industry. And it sounded like the bit that I read, and again, I could be completely wrong, I haven't gone digging through the forums yet, that that if low-sec gets a generic boost to MEs because of it, I would really be I would really be excited about that. Because that would be super interesting from a industrialist perspective to say, if I can hold a space like, oh, I don't know, a place like Fliet, and I can keep my ECs running mostly unperturbed, like I have the opportunity to use a jump freighter chain to really amp my margins. And so I'm excited for it. I like the idea of the change, but we'll have to see details. The preliminary mumblings I've seen through the Tweetfleet Slack have been encouraging, but I haven't gone deep into the specifics yet. Oh, and 07 Dunkelzan Johnson. I'll have to thank Rushlock for sending people over here. I haven't watched any of Rushlock's stuff, so I should probably go check him out. And Carrie Killingsworth, yes, I do intend to launch at least some of the content here on Eve Prosper. I know that the eveprosper.com domain might get remapped. I'm trying to find my spot for blogging going forward. I like Medium, for instance. The formatting is really easy to work with. And like, I like the minimalist layout. But I don't have as much direct control on the content as I would like. So, do get subscribed. Like I'll try to put it out on everywhere. Like that's the way social media works these days, right? Is you get on your soapbox and you shout it out like, oh, look at me, I published a blog, or oh, look at this video on Twitter and whatever. So again, the very, very best place to keep in touch with the stuff is the Discord. That Discord will not go away because that Discord is being used not just for the community here, but it is our monitor. It is our tattler for the API tools that we run. There's a webhook bot that throws alerts back to that channel, and so Discord is thumbs up from me for being able to tie my logger into it. Oh, somebody asked a question a bit and I missed it. Shit. Oh, somebody was asking about the API robot, and that was Keith O. So if you guys checked out the blog, again, links should be down below, eveprosper.com. I did release a API that is attached to a machine learning future predicting bot. And if you want to query it directly, call me on Discord and I'll get you an API key. But we also have it hooked in at both Eve Mogul and Adam for Eve, and you can see predictions on their sites. And it generates 120 days worth of content. The 30-day outlook has been pretty good. The 60-day, not so much. But that's our attempt to try and break the market by making a robust. So it's just a REST endpoint, but there's some weirdness about it. So if you can query Crest, you can query us. Like it's designed to be that easy. It actually uses a very similar architecture to the new ESI systems, just with less swagger. So if you can figure out ESI, you can figure out our thing. The problems. One, I can't give you a key if you're going to go put it into Google Doc, because the way Google Doc pulls is going to break my system. We're working on fixing it. If you know how to program Python and want to help us finish the Mongo translation, I'll give you a Plex. I'll give you a month's worth of Plex for it. Number two, it does take a lot of time for a new prediction to be generated. It takes about 25 seconds, which can cause timeout problems if you're not careful. That being said, we do cache everything that's important. So if we've seen it before, we'll cache it, and we'll cache it for the rest of the day. I would like to be able to look at our top 100 and put a cron script that generates the top 100 every midnight. But I haven't had a chance to build in the stuff that lets me do that. So if you can handle that, those are the two weird things. Then you can use it. If that's kind of a pain in the ass, go check out adamforeve.eu. Let me put the thing on the thing. Okay, give me a sec. Desktop. That button. Make it big. Embiggen. Left embiggen. Okay, so. Let me zoom that in so you guys can actually see what's going on. So we have, if you go to adamforeve.eu, you guys can follow along. Let me post it in chat. Boop. Boop. And hippie dude, if you want to learn Python and you already know how to program, my favorite resource was, what's it called? Learn Python the Hard Way. It's online. You just go to the book site. Everything is there. The one caveat is the guy is like anti Python 3 and he's fucking wrong. So as long as you're willing to write Python 3 code and not drink any of his Kool-Aid about why Python 3 is the devil, then that's the only thing there. So so let's go ahead and slurp this up a little bit, just make life easier. So you can go to Adam for Eve and you can look up any item you want here on their commodity website, right? And the thing I really like about this website is this last graph here, which tells you about the buy and sell depth. This is, when I talk about opportunistic buy orders, this is exactly the pattern you're looking for, is that so everything from 2.665 and up, that's one group of buy orders, right? And then the next group might end at 2.5, right? So if you wanted to be opportunistic, the thing you want to do here is say, well, I don't know if I want to compete here and 0-1-ISK all of these guys here at the front of the curve. But if I sit back here at 2.73 million, well, if this breaks and starts to fall through, my buy order will be filled on the way down to the next cliff, right? That's what I mean by opportunistic buy orders. So I love this tool. This is one of my favorite tools out there right now. It's free to use. It's excellent. It's the best, the greatest. Everybody knows it. And then at the top here is your predictor. And it says, highs and lows and expected things. So there are, I don't know if I have time to teach it here on the stream, but there's this particular pattern where we see this diverging cone is the robot throwing its arms in the air and going, I don't know, probably this. So there's a couple of patterns to watch out for. Oops. No, forecast review. And he caches our predictions, but like you can see, so he took a snapshot on the Plex split, and then Plex split, and we were wrong. We were so fucking wrong, right? Let's see. This one is Mexilon. You go look at Mexilon, and if you go check out our performance from our first predictor, we see that actually the performance in the 30-day space was really good, but then fell off. If we go check out something a little more recent, we see this, again, diverging cone pattern where it's kind of throwing its hands in the air and doesn't know what to do. So, yeah, like, Mexilon is no longer a thing I really want to speculate in, and the robot agrees with me. It's the reason... So I personally wouldn't use the hard numbers in the robot. I'd use it more as a gut check. This is a great tool to say, oh, well, dear robot, please help me pick 10 items and give me a time, let me tell you a time frame, and you give me a bunch of numbers. And I'll say, oh, well, in the next 4 weeks, like, there's a chance to do something. So, like, if you were doing the old stuff and you had bought in thinking, well, I mean, it's going to go up by April 1st and down by the end of May. Like, if this was your bet and you said, well, let's say we bought it. This was your predictor originally. We end up low. Let's see, that was on 5.4. No. 4.5, sorry. So let's go run a better predictor. So it's low, but I expect it to recover. Like, here would be a decent chance to buy in. And then I'd be looking to sell May 1st. Okay, I lose this one, right? I lose. But there are other spots where you wouldn't lose and you'd make decent money. So that's sort of the idea behind it. It takes some tuning. I just give you the numbers. You're going to have to build the robot. And it beats the living shit out of linear regression. So these are the sort of crayon drawings I would draw. Though it really thought that we were going to be 90 or 100 ISK on Mexilon here. I wonder what it says about Morphite. See, it thinks the same thing I think. It's that Morphite's going up, baby. But now it doesn't know what to do, right? Oh. Nom 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 nom. Oh, am I in that already? Or did I drop it? No, never mind. Anyway, we are getting close to the end here. I'm going to give you guys the 5-minute warning. If you guys have more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Yeah, oh my god, such a long day. And hippie dude, just a note for Python people, there's a religious war. It's like Sunni versus Shia, 2.7 versus 3x. But all the sane people are like, you use 3 on anything new, and you use 2.7 on anything old, and that's fine. There are a couple of people who like I have to deal with one of my coworkers. Has a particular axe to grind about, oh, it's not actually cross-platform because we support all of these weird ass rainbow versions of Linux, like SUSE Linux. Fuck SUSE Linux. And well, Python 2 is system standard across the whatever, and all the things work in Python 2, but Python 3 is just too new, even though it's 10 years old, and it's so hard to support and WAN. I'm just like, oh my god, stop. We're Python 3.5, and if you don't like it, then take it up with the boss. Oh wait, he's going to say it's Python 3.5 because it was his initiative. So you lose when you come to me, and you lose when you go to the boss. So just fucking drop it. But Eve Prosper v2 is all Python 3.5. I've been hesitant to go to 3.6 because of support for... So there's two things I'm worried about. One is the string method support isn't back compatible, and two, that it's been hard to get a linter working. The linter problem has been fixed though, so we're just down to do I allow support for the new string methods. 3.5 is not a bad place to cut, as long like the bellwether for that is Curio for me. There's a couple of bleeding edge projects that are basically saying, you know, this is the line in the sand we're drawing, and I'm just going to follow those guys because they're smarter and working harder than I am. And I'm happy to go pick a line and not back compat. But where 3.5 landed, the async library is not a bad place, and I'm not tuned in enough for the Python 3.7 talks to know where async is going in the future, but it's just seen a major API overhaul. So I'm gonna let the Curio guys lead me by the hand on that one. But like, and there's some encryption problems that because Python 2 to 3 changed the way Unicode and Bitness, I think, worked. The encryption libraries are some of the ones that are worst supported. So if you absolutely positively need to do encryption, you might not want to go to 3. Like, that's the only spot I have legitimate concerns on going to 3 for. But like, you shouldn't be using Python to encrypt. You should be using TLS. You should be using system libraries, not rolling your own encryption. So, I really like Python 3. It's really great. I haven't had to do much that breaks in stuff, but oh man, when you have to pull out 6, it's a real pain in the ass. 6 is a cross-platform library, so either you use Futurize, which is not as well, it's pretty well supported. So if you have a library that absolutely positively has to do both, you use Futurize, and it has some great stuff that just automatically does it. If you want to be a big boy and cover it yourself, like make it exceptionally clear where your Python 2 and 3 problems are, you can use a library called 6, which is 2 times 3, right? is 6, and it has remapped functions, and it does the remapping. But I like using that so that you can search for 6 in your code, and you can know, well, oh, we're doing, where are we breaking, and should we continue supporting that, or should we drop the function, or should we continue supporting it? That's the reason I do it. But all the only thing I really want to see is I want to see a web framework like Flask, like Pyramid, like Django, that's 3.5 and up, that it only supports 3.5 and up. There are some murmurs that people are trying to do it because I'd like to see a web service that actually uses the async libraries rather than the legacy stuff that they've built up around. But until somebody builds a really robust web service library that can compete with Flask, um, I'm not going to sweat it. So I'm not that much of a diva. More questions? Any more questions? Am I the only one who really thinks that the MongoDB thing is super interesting? Grin Bear, we still have 3 episodes. We're getting to number 100. I'm not stopping before 100. And then we're going to go into the regular summer hiatus. We might be doing I'd like to do office hours so I can answer you guys' questions. And then hopefully by the end of the summer, somewhere in late August, early September, I'd like to start launching new dev content. So that's the... Plex is still just as good a place as any. And my indicators say that we should be ready for 2 billion-isk Plex by the end of the year, but we're in an unstable spot to really be 2 billion a month. Sorry, I got to change the way I talk about Plex. 2 billion a month. I think we're going to end up there unless things turn around. I really implore the likes of Quant and Recurve to nerf stuff, and like I would go in with a hatchet and just be like, guess what, sanctums make 20% less now, deal with it. But that's because I'm not CCP Lockefox. So and I'd like to say I told you so, because I brought this up at the start of the fucking year and they didn't do goddamn shit about it. And the only person who's talking about it, I feel like a tinfoil wearing conspiracy theorist. Alex Jonesing myself over here. But yeah. It's such a dry topic, and like there are literally dozens of us who care about it, right? Again, Grin Bear, I've talked. I don't love inflation. I think that the raw costs of living are going to stay the same. So unless you absolutely need those Plex to continue Omega status, there are. I wouldn't cash them out until you need them. Now is a great chance to cash out if you were going to use it, but like these are like we're talking long-term bets. These are your savings accounts essentially. This is a good chance to jump out and buy that nice thing you may have been waiting on. But I wouldn't liquidate like my entire Plex stockpile into cash, because I think we're going to be at 3 million a mini Plex here in not too long, and like you jump out of the exponential curve and you're just going to get fucked. So I mean, use it, absolutely use it. It's a great chance to be using it. Prices are down and Plex is up. It's a great chance to go and make a big purchase if that was what you were going to do with it. But yeah. Like I don't love telling people to like play Plex like a penny stock where you jump in, you jump out, you jump in, you jump out, because like a lot of us are really bad at timing that. Like you think that you're out and then you're out for 3 months, you miss your in point again, you come back to the game and Plex is 20% higher than it was and you feel like an idiot. Like, you know, why play that game when you could just hold it and sit on it, and just keep buying in like their education bonds, if I may steal their sort of savings bonds or CDs, and you just keep buying in on a cycle, because that's where you put excess cash, and then when it's high, well, you sell it off, and when it's low, well, you don't. You use your regular cash reserves, or you try to leave your Plex. You try to restock the Plex you did sell off when it was high. Like you don't cash the whole thing out. You don't buy the whole thing back. You do it in bits and bobs. You buy a nice car when the stock market is high, and you buy more stocks when the stock market is low, kind of thing. Like you're not going to liquidate your entire portfolio. And SP market's a little undervalued at the moment. I think that the prices are due to rise because right now zombie farmers are getting screwed. But there don't seem to be many buyers for brain meat. So I don't know why it's taking so long to get up above 750 million per injector. Sorry. So, I mean, it's a good chance. It's a decent chance to be selling out, right? Like, Plex prices are high, valuations are high. But I don't know how enthusiastic buyers are going to be right now. So I'm going to have to end the show here. I want to thank everybody who tuned in live. We should have the edited show up real soon, thanks to our bud, my friend and yours, Christopher Mellon, who you should check out his Minor Metrics show because it's amazing. It's the best. Everybody knows it. We should be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. I should be doing another one, our last market brief for 07 this month, just ahead of Memorial Day, and we'll see if I end up skipping a week because of Memorial Day. We'll see how plans work out. It's nice being able to run around town before all the tourists come in, so I might just use that time to get one more ditch day in before things get sucky. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you again. Get joined up to our Discord. Click the doobly-doo. We'll be back next week. You guys can check us out there. If you want to get in touch with me, if you have PM stuff you want to talk about, again, Discord is the very best place to do so. I have been your host, Lockefox. We'll be back next week. We'll see when the next office hours ends up being. Best place to figure out is the Discord. So thank you again. Get subscribed. Do all that great stuff. And I will see you all next week.